Dancers know that tonight the dream dies. He gave the signal, and it died. And with that blood-smeared weight belt in hand, here is Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, the final boss.
Well, that was a fun night. Hey, everybody. Am I picking? I'm happy to pick. Sure. Ladies first.
We have one right here, second row, left-hand side.
Today's Salcedo Instinct Culture. So I'm gonna start off with the big moment that just closed out the show. A historic moment, leaving so many fans completely shocked. From your point of view, being in there in the ring as this unfolded, talk to us about how you felt in the moment and coming out of it, of course, and seeing this different side of John Cena.
It was an amazing moment. Lisa, is it? Sorry.
Denise.
Sorry. Too much tequila. Denise, it was an amazing moment. And, you know, we as entertainers, whether in pro wrestling or whether in film or television or whatever it is that you do, you really live for moments like that where you can hopefully create something that could be very compelling and moving for the audience and take tonight 38,000 strong here in Toronto. And what we have collectively thought about and talked about in the back before and certainly after this moment is no one knew really what was going to happen. Maybe a few called it, but for the most part, I thought the moment was incredible, and I personally love that. And I've been around the block in terms of being a pro wrestler and I grew up in this business, so I love this business. And what I felt tonight, and I've been a part of some really phenomenal professional wrestling angles. And as a kid growing up, we all have seen some amazing professional wrestling angles. I felt like tonight stood beside all of those that were the iconic angles. So it was really incredible. So I was very proud. But overall, I thought the performances by everybody across the board, all the women, all the men, they put it out there. And I'm very, very proud of them. I know their schedule, I know it well. I lived it at one time for many, many years. I grew up in it with my dad, my grandfather, my uncles, my grandmother, I mean everybody, my cousins. So I understand the grind of the schedule, and what everyone was able to do tonight from top to bottom, from the opening match to the final match, was really phenomenal, and I was very, very proud of everybody. So what a night it was.
Right-hand side, third row.
Sam Roberts from Not Sam Wrestling. I have two questions, if you bear with me, because one I woke up with, and one I came up with on the floor as we just watched, this huge moment in wrestling. But my first is about the final boss, and I've been pretty public about how much I've loved the character and how much it kind of elevated storytelling in pro wrestling. But at the same time, when the final boss came back last week on SmackDown, 1 minute the final boss is thanking everybody for the amount of money that Moana made and helping people with their phones that had fallen on the floor. The next minute, he's talking about syphilis and he's asking for Cody Rhodes' soul.
Sorry, Sam, for the record, not that I have syphilis. I was pointing it out to a fan. All right, sorry, go ahead.
Poorly phrased question, that's fair. My question is, for us, are we to take the final boss as a babyface, as a heel? Who, at this point, who is the final boss?
I feel like, Sam, in a way, perhaps, and I'm not knocking you at all. I listen to your podcast, and I feel like there is that might be a little limiting. And what I mean by that is because the final boss is a lot of things. He's a heel, he's a babyface, but also he's one who doesn't adhere to the typical professional wrestling tropes that we find of, a heel talks like this, or a babyface talks like this. I feel like I've reached this point in my career where I'm able to go out there as the final boss and address the crowd. Hey, New Orleans, 2026, you have WrestleMania 42 coming to the Superdome. Final boss starts singing. When the saints come marching in, they start singing with me, and I tell them, no, you shut your mouth, or I'm going to sing by myself. It's not going to happen like that, So I like vacillating between a heel and a babyface, but also I feel like it's important to I have reached this point in my career where I feel really comfortable in my own skin when I go out there or when I film a film or whatever it is I do, where I say what I want to say, and I say, but more importantly than that, and I don't mean to be defiant or sound defiant about that, I say what I feel. And in that moment, that's the luxury and the brilliance, I think, that's the luxury and the blessing of being in pro wrestling, when you have a live microphone that you could say what you feel. And in that moment, if I feel like having fun with the crowd, I do it. If I feel like telling them to shut up, the final boss is going to sing, or asking their champion, hey, you're going to give me your soul. So I like that, and I like, and also again, I'm comfortable, man, in being in my own skin, and I like that there, with the final boss, there are no constraints and there are no handcuffs, and we can go out and have the reaction that we had tonight to final boss because people were waiting, and create an experience with Travis Scott and going out and embrace me, Cody Rhodes, and then eventually putting his blood on this belt and beating him with it. But yeah, so I would say that regarding being a heel or a babyface. And lastly, Sam, I do want to say that I encourage that where we can, and that goes for all the other talent in the locker room, women and men. If we could find that place, and that's a really special place, rare air, where you can, like, don't think about, well, a heel should say this or a babyface should say this. It's old school, and it worked for decades and decades. But today, it's okay. Stretch the aperture out and go out there and say what you feel. Bring it from here.
I appreciate you saying that. You should come by the basement sometime. But John Cena,
Yeah.
you have this moment, right? And I think one of the criticisms that has come up about The Rock and the final boss, whether it was January on Netflix, whether it was whatever, is this idea that where is he going? Is he the guy who's going for Cody the night after WrestleMania? Is he this? All of a sudden tonight, I feel like one of the things that made this moment so significant was that everything got tied together from John Cena's promo in the press conference, it wasn't even a promo, after the Royal Rumble, to you showing up at Bad Blood, which at some point people said that meant nothing, but the same throat slit we got tonight. How long, for lack of a better term, has this been cooking?
It meant something, and
Yeah.
you said a word, it's long, and that's what it is. I'm a long gamer, and I like long gaming, and I like creating with Paul and with Brian Gewirtz and Maya Lazary, who's on my side of the team, and I like creating with Paul and his team as well. We're long gamers. And so what a lot thought, well, of Bad Blood, when it was a pay-per-view that The Rock attended, and I just did a very small, subtle thing, there was a lot of criticism, like, oh, it didn't mean anything. Well, it did. It's okay. It's okay if you're not thinking about it now, but just trust me when I tell you, we are thinking about this stuff and long gaming this, and I love that. Same thing last week, same thing when we opened up with Netflix in LA, where I came out as the director of the board and welcomed everybody and welcomed the Netflix executives. I thank Cody Rhodes for carrying this company in such a tremendous way on his shoulders. I gave him dap, I gave him a big hug. Well, I knew this night was coming. So we're long gaming, Sam. And by the way, I hear you on your podcast. You said a lot of things, especially the stuff about pushing and growing the company, and it's okay to break the fourth wall in the world of pro wrestling. I think if you do it right, and there's a right way to do it, and navigate your way through it.
Next question.
Hey, it's Adrian Hernandez of Unlikely. Dwayne, we are 49 days away from WrestleMania, and as you said, this was a historic night, and what an incredible moment to close out the show. You have a message to the fans on what to expect on this road to WrestleMania.
I do. I think the fans can expect the unpredictable. I think they can expect exciting storylines to unfold, and I also want to encourage the fans, whether they're hardcore fans or not hardcore fans who just enjoy the product, take your time, take a breath. It's all going to unfold. It's okay. And now, by the way, not everyone's going to like everything that we present, and that's okay too. But I promise you, as Triple H was here and he was talking about blowing up. And when he and I've worked with him for a very long time, and for decades and decades. And so when we get together these days, today, we're constantly, so what we'll do is we'll think about, okay, we have the final boss, we have this character, we have this character, we have this character, we have this event, and we have this storyline. Let's start with the thing that's coming up next, but then let's push ourselves to 8 months from now, 6 months from now, and let's see where we go. So the reason why I share that with you is because what we often do, and that's the fun part about Triple H and I getting together, is we'll take something and take an idea, and it sounds good. Hey, this sounds good. I think we're gonna do this tonight, or let's do this at the up and coming PLE. And then we'll go, you know what? Blow it up, throw it away. Let's figure out something better. So I think going up and leading into WrestleMania, I think fans can expect the unexpected. I think they can expect some unpredictable moments. I think that they can expect some predictable moments, because also at the same time, you do want to make sure that there's certain things that you got to do to make sure that we're satisfying the audience on a weekly basis. And there's certain moments that we all know, we got to make this happen. Let's make this happen. But we'll make this happen today because they expect it and they want it, but maybe next week we'll deliver something different. I'm excited about WrestleMania. I was excited about last year's WrestleMania. We were trying to figure out what it could be. We created that dual main event that happened over the course of 2 nights. I'm excited about every WrestleMania. This one is different. This one is unique, and I can't wait.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Third row, right hand side.
Raj Prashad from Up Rock Sports. Hey.
Hey, man.
Travis Scott, we see him tonight, obviously. He's had this incremental involvement, right? He's in the crowd, and then he's a part of the entrances, and now he's in the ring. Could we eventually see Travis Scott in the ring, perhaps as a partner with The Rock and John Cena?
Yes. Yes. That's why we're doing it. Absolutely. It's a great question. Long gaming. So, look, I love Travis. That's my guy. Where we have expanded to, I think, in the WWE, I feel like professional wrestling has always found its unique place in culture throughout the decades. I grew up in the business, right? We remember rock and wrestling, Cyndi Lauper, Hulk Hogan. We then remember the Attitude Era, etc., right? So I feel professional wrestling has had its place in culture for some time, and I think we are tapping into a unique time now. I'm not quite too sure what we name this era. We'll all figure it out. Someone will come up with something cool. I'll say it out loud and I'll take credit for it. But I feel like with Travis loves the business, he loves pro wrestling, and he's a culture guy. Travis Scott he's one of the greatest already of all time. He's a GOAT, he's a legend, he's an icon, he loves the business. So we get guys and girls like that who want to come in and who are already tapping into culture and disrupting culture in their own cool way. They want to come in, they want to have fun at the show, maybe they want to sit, maybe they want to enjoy, maybe they want to be on camera. We're here, we're supporting, but then some want to get involved. And then some, like Travis, deeply want to get involved. And that's what you saw tonight, was this, oh, we have this opportunity to create this big moment in pro wrestling that is arguably one of the biggest, maybe the biggest. Some fans' words, not mine, tonight. And then we also have an opportunity, I think, to bring Travis Scott into as well and start to form a union, an alliance with the final boss and Travis Scott. And he wanted to get, in a way, to steal a term, he wanted to get his hands bloody. And I whispered to him as he was going out, I said, if you get your hands bloody, make it count. Make it count. He slapped the shit out of Cody tonight. He slapped the shit out of Cody. And he was really, really hyped up. I mean, it was really amazing. When Travis landed, by the way, I went in, we had some words, we just chopped up what the night is gonna look like, and I caught a contact high for about 3 hours. It's like crazy, and I loved it. I need Travis every time I do an appearance. Like Travis smoke with Terramana, it's game over.
We have time for one last question.
What? That's it?
That's what they're telling me.
Let's do 2 more.
All right, 2 more.
Hello, Mona Nawaz. I'm the one Mona. It looks like you have it out for Cody. First you put blood on a belt for Mama Rhodes. Now you have something with his father. So were you the influence, and was it the master plan all along for John Cena to sell his soul to you?
I don't know if I was the influence, but I will tell you this, is that it's the part of the business that I love. 2 parts of this. It's a part of the business that I love. And I grew up in this business, as we know. I was very fortunate to grow up in this. And the part of the business that I love is that we can create things like this, where I can create this belt, but I just didn't want to put a belt that's at Cody's soul. I need a date that memorializes things, but also a date that means something to me, but really means something to me. It's going to tie into the second part of this answer regarding John, which was, June 11, 2015, when Dusty Rhodes passed away. For those of you who don't know, Cody's dad, Dusty Rhodes, Cody's dad and my dad, Rocky Johnson, they were best buds. They did everything together, riding horses, etc., especially down in Florida. We would go to Dusty's house all the time. But right before Cody was born, because I'm about 10, 12 years older than him. And so Dusty was one of my heroes. So I thought, well, what's a thing that I could really, anytime I come back home to WWE and I do something, I gotta have skin in the game. I gotta have, really sink my teeth into something. And what's real? What feels real to me? Well, your dad was one of my heroes, so I'm gonna put his date here. And if I get the opportunity, and if you tell me no, and if you tell me in his very eloquent way, he told me no tonight, told me to go fuck myself. It's like, wow. I don't know if you ever said that in front of 38,000 people like that. What a moment. But as I was saying, it's the most fun part. It's the part about our business that we love in creating moments. So with John, I don't know if I was the influence to this. Perhaps, maybe I was a conduit to help him in a way, in my small way. I don't want to take any credit for this, because this is John. In my small way, a conduit to help John get to the place he's gotten tonight. So, storyline, no storyline, fiction, nonfiction. What you guys felt tonight out there was decades of what John has experienced as a performer and as a human being. And I felt it in the ring. I've had conversations with John. We're good buddies. I knew what his why was going into this. And it is so incredibly moving and compelling, and it grips you by the neck when he talks about it, as he's talked to me about it. And this is why I'm doing what I'm doing tonight. And again, storyline, no storyline, fiction, nonfiction. The greatest, I think, angles in wrestling is when it's anchored in some sort of authenticity. What you felt tonight, he didn't say a word. Look, he came out and dropped the mic. That's decades of a man who gave everything to this business that I love. And now it's coming out. And I told him as he left, by the way, he flew in this morning from Budapest. He's flying out right now to Africa to continue. So that's the level of commitment. And I told him as he left, I said, we say 2 things in our wrestling vernacular. He said, hey, thank you for the house. And I said, I'm proud of you. It's a big deal. All right, last question. Make it good.
Here we go, left-hand side, 3rd row.
Hi, Rock, right over here. Hi, my name is Malcolm in Muscle Memory.
Oh, this ain't gonna be good. I can already tell. Here we go. I'm kidding.
Now, after a long night of taking John Cena's soul, I'm sure you gotta get some good eats. The Rock, what is your Waffle House order?
Waffle House?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. All right, I'll go a dozen eggs, but only 10 egg whites, 2 whole eggs. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'll do the hash browns.
Hello.
I'll do the waffle, scattered, smothered, covered.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, a Waffle House. You're excited about Waffle
I
House.
love
right?
Waffle House.
I can tell.
Yes, sir.
Yes, we're gonna remove you in about 30 seconds. All right, guys. I would say that, and of course, I'm a jukebox junkie. So anytime I could go into a spot that has a jukebox, man, that's my jam.
Love it.
We can't end on that. I appreciate your question, though. Thank you, though. It was good. It was good. We're gonna end on something else.
All right, one more. First row.
That's sorry, we'll end with a lady.
The Rock, Maury from the Roz and Mocha Show on Kiss 92.5 in Toronto. Mocha says hello.
Hi, Maury. Mocha. I know Mocha.
Yes, you do.
Yeah.
So I want to, first of all, thank you for a night I'll never forget.
Thank you, man.
Want to find out now that John Cena is a bad guy, will we change up the jorts or will he continue wearing the jorts? Is the jorts a
That's
bad
up
guy
to John.
attire?
That's up to John. I don't know, but I can tell you that jorts or no jorts, I think the thing I'm excited about is watching John perform this, right? Because if you think about it, John Cena has been our Babe Ruth. He's been our Superman. He's the guy you never, ever, ever thought would turn in this way, and he did. And it's a big risk, and it's ballsy to do something like that, and it's gutsy, and he's put a lot of thought into this. So I'm just really excited to see him, just performatively, what this version of John looks like. So George, maybe, I don't know. Knowing John, he'll probably stay the exact same, and he'll probably wear what he wears. And tell everyone go fuck themselves. All right, we should end with a lady. Would you like to go last?
Good evening, Emily
Hello.
May with Sportskeeda Wrestling. So you talked about your family legacy, and I would love to know, what do you think your mom would respond to your actions tonight, and what does she think about the final boss?
Wow, what a great question. Thank you. My mom is my biggest fan. She grew up in the business too. My grandfather, for those of you who don't know, Haichi Peter Maivia, Hall of Famer in WWE, wrestled for Vince McMahon Sr. in the 70s. That's my mom's dad. She's my biggest fan. She loves this business of pro wrestling and loves the final boss. Mama Rock loves the final boss. I'll tell you what she doesn't love. She hates when I cuss. She hates it. Completely hates it. And I was like, come on, Mom. Who gives a fuck? No, I'm only kidding. I'm kidding. She'd slap me. No. We'll end with one more question. Then I'll jump on a plane. Don't look at me.
I'm crying.
All right,
Oh,
you.
okay.
I'll go with you.
Just waiting for the mic.
Okay. Dude, make it good.
So I was there in 1990, Hogan versus Warrior. I was there when you took on Hogan, which was obviously a big moment.
That was here.
That's right, same
1990,
bill. Yeah, so that's my question. How did tonight compare, considering you were in the ring for two of Toronto's biggest moments?
I love that question. Thank you for asking that. We've been thinking about this all week long because Toronto generally is a heel town, I feel. And it was a heel town, certainly was a heel town with me and Hogan. When Hogan and I wrestled WrestleMania 18, I think it was, and that was a real psychological chess game that we played that night. So I thought that this crowd tonight was exceptional. And without getting too far into the weeds, we had discussed, hey, let's be prepared how this crowd is going to be. Because you also, you don't, when you go into something like this crowd tonight, this 38,000 here in Toronto, they're waiting, they know something is going to happen. It's building up. We have the Elimination Chamber, all these matches, right, that we have put together, that we've advertised, but then at the end is our number one hero going to give his soul to the final boss? What's going to happen? And so we had all collectively discussed, let's be prepared. If the crowd goes this way, don't stay on track. Don't be rigid. Let's be flexible. and let's just see. I had to do that with Hogan when we had our match. So those of you who don't know, we had a big match at WrestleMania 18. I came out, I was the big baby face at that time, Hogan was the big heel. The moment we locked up, crowd turned. At that time, I think there was about 60,000 people here. I think the setup was different. And I became the heel within 2 minutes of the match. And so we had to adjust on the go, Hogan and I. So we went into tonight being flexible, amenable. Let's see if we have to shift and turn. This crowd tonight was unbelievable. And after 3 hours of pay-per-view, people have given all of their energy, but they know something else is coming. And we come out, here comes Rock, here comes Travis Scott. What's gonna happen? Are you gonna give me your soul? Cody tells me I'm not, in his eloquent way. And in that moment, again, without getting too far into the weeds, everything was just relying on me to make a move, which will then spur the next movements by everybody else. So I just waited and I let it all cook. Once he told me no. Waited, and I think it was such a special moment because I think in wrestling, as we know, it's almost like in sports when you watch pro football, basketball, baseball, whatever it is, same thing in pro wrestling. There's a metabolism that happens as you're watching the show, and this happens, and a match happens, and you feel like, oh, the good guy is making like this, he's coming back, and it's happening, and I think a finish is happening, and they kind of know, like there's a rhythm to things. And I think in this case, when he told me, excuse my language, go fuck yourself, and I paused and waited and waited and waited and waited. I wasn't gonna move. And finally, when I did make a little bit of a move, John came over, he gave him his hug. I got to tell you, I've been part of a lot of really cool moments in pro wrestling, whether growing up and watching them or just being a part of them. And here in Toronto was one of them. That Hogan match with me was the greatest match of my career, and it happened here in Toronto. What made it great was the crowd turned and kept us on our feet. So tonight, the crowd didn't know what was going to happen, but they knew something was going to happen, so they were feeling it. And the moment John hugged Cody, and he looked at me, and I went, the whole place erupted. And that moment is what we work for. Like, that's the thing. It's bigger than a promo, it's bigger than words, it's bigger than anything I could say or anybody could say. It's bigger than a storyline. It's bigger than a television show, it's bigger than broadcast numbers, it's the fucking feeling that you get when you do something and the crowd just becomes unglued. Oh, you have one more.
No, just one really quick thing. Two things. I didn't say my outlet before, so merch shop for TMS.
Great, yes.
Yeah, I can't forget that.
No one gives a shit. No one.
But my final thing was, did you learn anything from that Hogan thing that you applied when you had the moment tonight?
I did. What a great question. I learned to always be open, and I learned to be flexible in the moment. Because often, when a crowd turns on you and there's 60,000 people that turns and you don't expect it, I think naturally human instinct is and behavior is to tighten up. No, stay on our path. I work as a babyface, Hogan, you work as a heel. We have to stay on the path. In that moment, I was very happy that we both kind of knew what we had to do. So the lesson in that was, you just never know. You think you know, but you just never know. And when you go out in front of a live audience, whether there's 38,000 people like tonight in Toronto, or whether there's 3,800 or 380, you never know. So be open and be flexible, and ultimately remember that the bottom line is you want to send everybody home happy. Send them home happy. So a lot of times that requires you to change your ways in the moment.
Thanks.
All right, I got to catch a flight. I'm sorry. Thank you guys so much for tonight. I appreciate it. What's up, Chris? All right. Let me take this on.